All right, here we go. Welcome back to the channels, ladies and gentlemen. This is Zip back with you to discuss what is going on inside of the crypto world. Today, we're going to dive into some XRP conversation and look at the macro view, the big picture, building the framework to give you confidence, especially as the markets are down right now. First, I hope you are doing phenomenal out there. You're getting outside, enjoying your loved ones, putting your feet, touching the grass, all of that stuff, because it's more than just staying engrossed in this environment. The markets will drive you absolutely crazy. If you are brand new to the channel, brand new to the crypto environment, welcome. Thank you for all the new subscribers. Please remember to hit the likes, drop the comments. It just helps in the algorithm as we're trying to expand the knowledge of what is going on with the financial infrastructure and the changes that are being made with the assets that we hold, like XRP. Remember, we own the technical stack when we're talking about this environment. You own the software, the back end that's changing the financial system. You know, many folks are going to choose not to believe what's going on here, and they're going to be busy and distracted and looking over here, and not paying attention, which could be done purposely. I don't know. I don't want to put the tinfoil hat on, but they're going to miss this opportunity that is right before us. And if you're brand new again, it's not too late. All right. Prices are starting to go up. Yep, for sure. But you're not too late with the transformation that's going to go on. And I'm not here to convince you to understand and believe in XRP or any of the assets that we talk about. That's for you to do. You have to go out and do your own research. But we're going to drop some of that content for you today just to dip your toe in. Again, we're going to talk about XRP. We're going to look at RLUSD. We're going to look at SBI and what's going overseas, because remember, SBI is a large part. They've been with Ripple since 2016, and this is a world phenomenon that's going on with regards to the changing of the infrastructure, which by the end of this video, you should see that. And we're going to drop at the very end. Stick with me to the end, because we're going to talk about banks. Part of our education and understanding is learning about money and how money flows, and banks are a big intricate part about that. And we're wanting to become our own bank, which this environment is going to allow you to do in the future for sure. Now, with that, again, markets are down. XRP's at around 287. I think it's been a little lower than that. Markets are flat, coming off of last week with some of the tariff news and some of the other news that's out there. All the markets fell. The traditional markets fell on Friday. But again, we're not paying attention to the markets so closely. We're looking macro and where we're going long term. Speaking of long term, let's get into eGrad crypto, because what do you care about? We care about price escalation, accumulation, and where these assets are going to go. eGrad crypto, again, I am not an analyst. I just report what they're stating. Pick your favorite analyst, you know, but the numbers specifically for XRP, again, throughout this cycle, this bull run cycle that we're in, and that cycle could change, you know, is everywhere from $15 and upwards of over $100. I don't know. I don't have a genie ball to know where it's going to go except for up, because of what is going on. But he comes out here, and again, he's looking at the candles, he's looking at the daily targets, he's doing his analysis, and he's still sticking with that $27 target for XRP going into 2026. High end, about 50 bucks. Will we meet those targets? If everything comes together that we have been talking about, I'm still looking at Q4, you know, because we still have the laws that are being implemented and cemented into the system. We have the ETFs, and we're still waiting on that dang SEC case to be dropped finally. So if all these things come together at the same time to include interest rates, yes, we could see impactful price movements. Now, moving on, demand. This came out from Ripple. Ripple dropped their monthly report talking about global stablecoins and RLUSD. For you folks that are new, RLUSD is Ripple's stablecoin. Okay, stablecoins are just a coin that is denominated 1-for-1 to the US dollar and backed by securities or backed by cash, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But that's what a stable coin is. It's an easy way to move money digitally as this system's being transformed. But the demand for faster, more transparent, and affordable payments is growing. But cross-border transactions remain slow, costly, and complex. That's what we're talking about all the time. That's why this system is being modernized. We should be able to send money 24/7 at a click of a button without having to wait 3 days, 5 days for our money to be able to move. We should have control. Stablecoins issued on the XRPL, like RLUSD, are changing that by enabling faster payments, lower fees, and greater access. And that RLUSD environment is ramping up, and they are building more and more volume. And we're going to talk about Hidden Road here in a minute that kind of ties all of this together in the big picture of what is being transformational in this environment. Now, let's talk about SBI, our man Smoke out there on X. And if you're out on X and you haven't given me a follow, give me a follow at Zip Tips Crypto. I put a lot of other content that I may not discuss on the channel out there as I'm seeing things. Be very, very careful. Avoid the scammers, as we've been talking about. Don't click on anything. Don't be drawn in to any kind of crazy return on rewards or anything like that. No one's giving you anything for free, period. Keep your stuff locked down. Now, in July's 2025 SBI Holdings documents, Smoke says, and we're going to look at the document specifically, but it projects major gains for the company Ripple as it's set to IPO possibly in 2026, and it's set to reveal the true value of XRP, the escrowed XRP, and we're going to see a phenomenal visualization. I implore you, go out to SBI, download look at the latest report. But this, what I'm going to show you, you can go out there and look at it. But it's a phenomenal illustration of what is going on with the escrow and how it's documented. Now we see in this report, it says here down at the bottom, with respect to SBI Group's unlisted shares of US-based Ripple Labs Incorporated, the valuation of XRP held in escrow by Ripple will not be reflected in the company's valuation until a definitive price is established, such as through an IPO or other means. So, tying that together, what is that saying in my estimation there? It means there's going to be a value established with XRP because Ripple, as part of their evaluation and going in when they IPO, they're going to want that value that they hold on their ledger, on their books in Ripple, to have value at XRP. What is that value going to be? Maybe that's why they're holding off a little bit as well, to allow more value accumulation, to basically allow XRP to go up in price, as an example of $27. For that way, it's going to increase the amount of IPO evaluation that they're going to go into with. And we're going to look at that here, right here, as we're talking about that. Here is a perfect illustration. If you're brand new and you don't understand what is going on with the max supply of XRP, which is 100 billion tokens, this illustration shows now basically in current market, circulated market cap, it's about 58 billion XRP. All right, as is being reported at this time. Ripple's current holdings that are not in circulation, they're in escrow, they're locked, and they're strategically released every month. And then much of it's pulled back. They utilize some of it to increase the XRP market structure and other things that they need to do within the Ripple payment system. But under escrow is approximately $36 billion. That will be translated as they go into their IPO. They will utilize that to increase that IPO evaluation. It's on their books. All right. So again, This just gives a great picture, I think, as far as an understanding of what is out on the market when we're talking about the escrow and what's held back, and what they're going to utilize that escrow for. There's a lot of theories out there. And remember, Ripple has very, very deep ties. That's why we're hoping that this SEC case comes to an end and we'll start to see some of those deep banking ties that they have, and the NDAs will start to be released. But more to come on that. Also coming out of this SBI report, let's look at the Ripple payments, because this is important, because remember, you own XRP, which is a foundational product that Ripple is utilizing for cross-border payments. Ripple Payments is an international money transfer solution utilizing XRP. They've adopted more than 100 financial institutions, it says here, across over 55 countries. Remember, Ripple has deep banking ties. Go back in my library here. We've talked about that over and over again, and they are the company behind using XRP to basically change the financial system. And we know in March, as an example, they have a license now with the Dubai Financial Services Authority. They are literally connected everywhere in the world, ladies and gentlemen. And again, this video is more of not to hype you up, but to give you actual concrete evidence of what is going on with the product that you hold. Now, they have RLUSD, which we talked about, is a US dollar pegged stablecoin issued under the New York Department of Financial Services. Again, everything that Ripple does is on the up and up and concrete, which should give you absolute confidence in what you're holding. We talk about tokenization, which this report, again, I'd go out there and read this report. There's a lot of information in it, but tokenized US Treasuries by Ondo Finance, a DeFi protocol for real world assets, tokenization. Remember, they are going to tokenize everything. Real estate, all of Wall Street, all these securities are going to be tokenized. Everything is going to be tokenized and can be purchased and redeemed using RLUSD. And remember, Ondo was one of the folks that was mentioned out in that crypto report that just came out last week from the White House. Remember, all these things are tied. We're tying all these pieces together to build a strategic idea, macro view of what is going on. RLUSD is also expected to be used as collateral, and here it is, for other purposes at Hidden Road, a major prime broker acquired by Ripple this year. And as we see here, we look at this, the crypto power plays, who's acquiring who in 2025, and we see Ripple up here. They acquired Hidden Road for $1.2 billion, which it is a prime brokerage and liquidity platform to do what? To expand institutional grade trading and integrate RLUSD into the system that is being transformed right before our eyes. That's the big picture. The more RLUSD, remember, if they're utilizing RLUSD for all of this trading that's going on, XRP is at the back end of that and has to be burned, used as well. It's the big picture. It's the big system. And remember, there's also ties with the DTCC out there. That's quadrillions of dollars that we're talking about. All of these environments are going to be an interoperable environment where it's not just necessarily going to be XRP. It's some of these other XLM, HBAR, a lot of these other environments that are going to work hand in hand to revolutionize the financial system. Now, more news on the laws, and we're going to look at that here in a minute. But again, the laws, in my opinion, are the roadway. We have the Genius Act that's been laid. We know the SEC now has started Project Crypto. They are going full steam ahead to modernize and make sure that all the security laws are enveloped and will support this digital asset environment. And the CFTC will also start a crypto sprint to work closely with the SEC, which is vitally important. Remember, everyone has to be in sequence here and working together to get this thing passed, all these laws passed, and to make sure that the financial institutions who are going to bring all of this liquidity on chain through tokenization, through ETFs, and many, many other ways that we can't even think about that this technology is going to bring, have to be working together to bring all this to support President Trump's initiative to make the US the crypto capital of the world. That is the big picture, and that is what is going on. And we look here, this is the global stablecoin regulatory landscape. Remember, it's not just the US, but the US has the deepest markets in the world. We drive the economy, and that's why the Genius Act was important. That's why stable coins like RLUSD, like USDC are important, because it's going to keep the dollar prominent. All right. Trump and team understand that, whether you love them, hate them, it doesn't matter. This is not about politics. This is about what is going on in the environment and how we can participate in this new environment. We see here, we have all the regulations. We have the MiCA, which we've talked about in the past in the European Union. Again, if you're brand new, dig into this research and understand the economics and the frameworks that's going on around the world. This has been enforced since July 2024, the MiCA standard had. It applies to electronic money tokens and asset reference tokens issued to the European Union public. Again, one-for-one banking redemption is required. It bans interest-bearing stable coins and prohibits algorithmic tokens, which we've seen in the past, like Terra Luna, have caused major chaos within the environment. We have the Genius Act, which was just passed a few weeks ago and is now binding. Regulations which are pending, provides regulatory framework for the stablecoin issuance and reserve standards. Again, one-for-one backed by securities, cash, or other means that are audited and looked at every month. And RLUSD and Ripple, every month they come out with that report to ensure that they're in compliance. That's what you want to see behind a company when you are owning some of these products like XRP. And all the other environments. We've talked about Singapore Payment Services Act in the past, and Japan, and what's going on. And again, all SBI, everything that is going on, it's not just a transition for us. It's a transition worldwide. And that's why patience is the key, because it takes a while. Now, I wanted to end this video because I want to think about, we want to discuss and understand banks. We're talking about many times, I'm talking about becoming your own bank and understanding how money really works. Okay, that velocity of money. But behind that, the only thing we've ever known are banks. If you want to watch this whole video, it is a very deep and eye-opening video about banks. It's with Richard Werner on the Tucker Carlson podcast here, talking about banks and the integrations and just a lot of things. You know, this whole Fugazi system, to where we just print money and we make these deposits, and there's a lot that goes into it that when you start to think about it, you start to realize what has been going on in the environment and how controlled of an environment the banking system is, and the deep ties. But again, not to get conspiratorial, but I want to listen to this part here because it's very important. Fundamentally, as we're going through this transition, we're looking for ways to where we can act like the banks act. That's the key of why I want to watch this and leave you with this. Just again, this channel is about opening your eyes a little bit and hopefully bringing you information to make you think, do your own research, and evaluate how and what you have been doing and what you have been taught for years and years. Let's take a listen to this for a minute.
Banks don't take deposits and banks don't lend money. And there's rulings in English courts. What is actually a bank deposit? Well, that is to confuse people. At law, there's no such thing as a bank deposit. It's simply a loan. Well, hang on. A deposit is a loan? Yes. It's a loan we give to the bank. We give credit to the bank when we do what is called deposit our money.
Yes.
And that is the legal status. So it's like the tables are turned. So banks don't take deposits. We lend to them. And the deposit, a bank deposit at law actually is not privileged. But surely banks lend money? No. Banks are in the business of purchasing securities. And when you sign that loan contract, that's an IOU, a debt instrument that you've issued, and the bank will buy it. That's what's happening. Now,
It can sell it.
well, exactly, it can sell it. And also, you will point out, oh, hang on, fine, these are details. This says, I will get money. I'm borrowing money, so please give me the money. I don't care about the details. And the banker will say, the careful, they will say, you'll find this in your account with us. They may carelessly say, we've transferred it to your account, which is incorrect because no transfer happens. Your account will be credited because the accounts payable liability arising from the loan contract is represented or misrepresented by the bank as another type of liability called customer deposit. And that is the trick you can only do when you're the keeper of the record.
Again, want to leave you here with this. Learn, go out and watch this video, but learn and understand the banking institutional environment and really what it ties to within this digital asset crypto environment is you are going to be able to leverage, take advantage of this environment and really start to become your own bank if you set the system up and you have the system deployed correctly. That is the key. That's what we go over here on this channel as much as possible. Everything is changing, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you have to understand. You want to block out the noise, stay focused, keep your mindset on positive lock as we transition. And I'm going to be here right with you going through this journey. I appreciate all of you. And again, please be very, very careful. Do not click anything. Do not accept any invitations to anything that you did not proactively go out. I am not reaching out to you. If anyone reaches out to you using my name, my persona, whatever it is, it's not me. I'm not reaching out to you at all. Please put anything in the comments. I try to answer those as much as possible, but let's get excited. We're going to have a fantastic week coming up, and who knows what's going to happen. Don't focus on the prices. Just focus on your future and where we're going. And continue to learn, gain knowledge is the key, and change that old stinking thinking that many of us have been taught throughout the years. But with that, be smart, be safe, and until next time, Zip is out.